In this video, I'm going to show you how to leave the length on the top and clean up the sides. Here's Jack. He has not had a haircut in several months. He said, "Mom, I don't want anything off the top. I only want it cleaned up around the sides and in the back." This is where it can get a little bit complicated when people come in and they're looking for not a whole haircut, it's more of just a partial haircut. In Jack's case, what I'm going to do, we are going to keep all of his length on the top. I'm going to take it from recession to recession, so just above the parietal ridge, and I want to get all of that hair out of the way because I don't want to cut that hair. That hair is going to stay long. So with all that hair out of the way, I have on my guard. I think it's the number 1 I have on here. I'm just going up just to that very first recession, and I don't want to come up any higher than that. Then as I come behind the ear, I'm actually going to slope downward. So if I continue coming straight across the back, he's going to look like he has a mushroom cut, which is not what he wants. When we come up, we're coming up just to the recession, and then you can see that I'm angling it back as I go down, and this is going to give it a really nice shape. So here we are in the back, and you're going to see that I'm going to actually take the clipper in a different direction because the hair is growing in a different direction. So you always need to make sure that you cut against the grain or against the natural fall of the hair. Sometimes in those neckline areas, you will have to go in a direction other than straight up and down. So I'm going to show you here on this side what happens. I can go up all I want, but nothing is going to happen. So you have to go against that natural growth pattern. So whatever way the hair is growing, you have to go in on the opposite direction. So right now it is looking like he does have a bit of a bowl, but that's okay. That's going to get all blended in here in a minute. So same thing on the other side. And just watch when I do my clipper around the ear, when I come in on the side, you can see that it's just the tip of the clipper that's touching. So you don't have to worry about taking off a big chunk of hair because the clipper is only going to take what the clipper touches. So now I'm just going to adjust the tang on my clipper so that the blades are closed. So starting with the blades open and then closing them is going to give it a slight fade. And I'm going to just take the clipper up just underneath what I just did. So I'm not going to come up quite as far. It's just going to go from that little bit shorter into that little bit longer. Make sure you always use lots of tension and pressure when you're using your clipper. If you don't use enough, you're going to end up not taking the amount of hair that you want it to take. All right, so if you've ever seen my fade video, this is my favorite comb and I use it all the time whenever I'm doing clipper over comb. I absolutely love it. You can see it has a nice, wide, flat surface. It's also super thin, which allows me to get really, really close, and I can blend really short lengths into those longer ones super easy. So just make sure when you're doing this that you're lifting the hair so that you're just grabbing those corners. If you don't lift it, you're just going to end up taking a chunk out. The other thing you want to make sure is that your blades are closed. If they're open, you're going to get more of a textured line where the blades are closed, you're actually going to take some hair out. And this is very visual, so you're just going to be watching and seeing where those lines are and where you need to take some hair. You may also notice that on your clients, they have some different densities, and I can see this on Jack as well, that there's some areas that look a little bit lighter than others. So this is a density thing. So that just means that there's more hair in some areas than others. And this is something I learned in a course that I took because I was trying to blend and blend and blend, and I was told, "Amy, you can't blend that. That's just density. It's a shadow that happens due to the density of the hair." So you do the best that you can, but sometimes there's dips or there's density, there's just some different things there, so don't worry about it. You'll notice too, I'm not going all the way up the head, I'm just focusing on that underneath part, blending it into that top piece of hair that's left down. So I don't want to take anything off of that, I'm just blending into that. And again, I cannot emphasize how much I love this comb. It is my absolute favorite comb. I have it in black and I have it in white. So you use white on darker hair and you can use the black one on lighter hair. You'll notice too that after I do 1 or 2 cuts, then I comb it down. And this is really important because you want to look at it. You don't want to just keep on cutting and cutting and cutting and not look at what you're doing. You have to be able to see how that line looks. Because again, this is totally visual. You're looking to remove that line and blend it. So just be aware of the angle of the comb, and you'll notice that mine, it is tilted out. And by tilting it out, I'm not cutting anything off of that top section. If the comb was tilted in, I'm going to end up taking too much hair. So now, because I don't want to take any more length through there, I'm going to go through with my thinning shears, and this is going just to break up that line a little bit more. It's going to help to reduce some of the weight. Jack has a lot of hair through here, so it is going to debulk it a little bit for me and help it to lay a little bit flatter without him losing any more length. Again, always elevating the hair, because when you elevate it, you're creating some over direction, which is just going to make those lines a whole lot softer. If you just go in and just take a chunk out, well, that's exactly what you're going to get. But by lifting it and keeping that comb moving, you are going to get a nice soft blended line. Okay, so now we're going to take the top and we got to make sure we blend it in. Now, I do not want to take anything off of the top. He was very specific. He wants to leave his length on the top. So what I'm doing is I'm pulling it all out, and I'm taking that very top layer, and you can kind of see it there in the tips of my fingers. That is the length on the top, and that's what I need to blend everything into. So you'll notice when I hold this out, there's my top layer, and I'm just taking out that corner. And I'm going to do this all the way around the head, although I am going to make a slight adjustment as I get toward the front. So when I get just past the ear, I'm actually right around here, my neck section, I'm going to start to direct it back. So I'm going to pull this back instead of traveling with it, and that's just going to give me a little more length through the front. Because if I continue to travel with my guide there, I am going to end up taking off all that hair in the front, and he won't like that very much. Same thing on the other side, and you'll be able to easily see the guide that I've already created. And again, you're just looking for that short layer on the top, your short piece down below, and you're just going through and you're taking out that corner. So basically just adjust your finger angle so that you get that corner in between your fingers. All right, and I'm going to start to direct it back a little bit. And you'll notice I did leave out a triangle section there right in the front. So the bang area, the fringe area, I left that out altogether because I do not want to cut it. Again, he was very specific. So if you do have a client that's very specific, they don't want that cut, just make sure that you get that sectioned out of the way so that you don't accidentally cut it. The only thing that I am going to do is make sure that it connects and that it blends. And that I'm going to do with thinning shears. So again, the next step is just to debulk. He has got lots and lots of hair. When you're using thinning shears to texturize the hair, it is a good idea just to work on those ends. Mid-shaft to ends, you don't want to go too close to the root area. If you do, you'll end up with some real short pieces. And you'll notice I'm kind of combing, using my fingers, having a real good look at it every couple of cuts that I do to make sure that I like how it's falling. And if I don't, I go back in and I just take some more until I'm happy with the fall. And you can tell that the back is looking real good, but that front area is still kind of heavy. So we are going to go through a little bit more. And we're going to get that. All right, now just time for the final touches. So we're going to go in with the trimmer and just clean up those edges a little bit. Always make sure when you're using your trimmer that you go up and not down. When you go down, if you drag it down the neck, it can hurt and it can cause irritation and redness. But if you go up, it's much more gentle. Jack loves this part. And there you have it. The before and the after. All cleaned up. He still has his length on top, but much, much neater. If you'd like to learn some techniques on how to do a fade, check out this video right here. And in the meantime, have a great hair day.